Everybody, welcome to another Ignition workshop. Today we're going to be focused on all things oracles. We have the infamous Bartos joining from the Solana Labs side, and we also have Jumbo from HAPI. They're going to cover all sorts of stuff. As always, drop your questions in the Twitch chat. They'll get around to them. But yeah, welcome the both of you. Have a great time on the workshop.
Thank you for introduction. I think if I may start myself from the basic introduction of what oracles are trying to achieve, and in general what oracles mean in the current landscape of the cryptocurrency. I think we can start from there. What do you think?
Yeah, I think it's good. Maybe before we go actually to the topic, can you talk about like HAPI and yourself, like about at least like just HAPI, like what is HAPI? Yeah. Why should I care? How is it relating to Solana? And
okay, great. So basically, plug from the get-go. I liked it.
Let's go.
So basically, what HAPI is, in very short summary of what HAPI is basically a cybersecurity layer. The idea is to provide an entity, regardless of whether it's a liquidity provider or DEX or SEX or centralized exchanges or decentralized exchanges. The idea of HAPI is to unite, basically make the network, cybersecurity network, connected with these entities, and basically propagate the data or information on the kind of illicit activity. So let's say you have a centralized exchange that has been hacked, or let's say there has been a siphoning of funds, and you need to inform and notify basically all of the network of the centralized exchanges and decentralized exchanges about the unfortunate predicament that has happened. So basically, HAPI allows for almost instantaneous kind of notification or alerting system that basically tells every SEX in this network, HAPI protocol network, or as we call it, ecosystem. And basically, it provides the necessary data and information on the potential threat that a certain address can pose to the centralized exchanges or even breaches in the case if a perpetrator wants to launder his or her funds. So that's the basic idea. So if I were to encapsulate it in 2 words, basically, HAPI is to prevent money laundering and alleviate potential losses that can ensue from that. It's a bit of a broad kind of and generalized summary. So feel free to basically ask whatever questions you might have.
Yeah. So maybe I don't know. I'm kind of simpleton. So let's say I would imagine you basically flag, like at the simplest case, you flag the wallets that have suspicious funds.
Yeah, exactly.
For the exchanges. What else?
The idea that this is where oracles come into play. Basically, we need data providers, especially in the basically our first steps. We need data providers. I don't know whether you know some of the centralized solutions that tackle the illicit addresses and databases on the illicit addresses. Basically, solutions like CipherTrace. The CipherTrace basically is this kind of entity that traces funds in the blockchain. We need their data. They will be our data providers. We already partnered with the Crystal blockchain. Basically, they are tackling the same kind of stuff. Like CipherTrace. They are tracing the activity on the blockchain. And since blockchain infrastructure in and of itself is open and kind of transparent, you can basically see where funds are going and where basically turnover of funds in general. So we need their database in the basically this kind of first stage because we need time to accrue our own data on the addresses. So that's where oracles kind of HAPI oracles come from.
Okay, makes sense. So on your website, you have this big 26 days. What's the significance of that?
If you're mentioning that, basically it's the release of the first iteration.
I see. So in 26 days, you will go live.
Yep. And actually, anyone will be able to trial our solution since it's basically a publicly distributable solution and anyone can use it. So it would be quite exciting times for, I think, not to sound pretentious, but exciting times for crypto enthusiasts and us in general. Yeah.
Okay, makes sense. And so that's awesome. So maybe let's talk in general about like oracles. What's your view on like where do oracles are heading? I know you're using like DAO in your solution.
Yeah. I see oracles basically as kind of transformative force that basically changed the idea and concept of how DeFi works. So oracles have become the necessary link that connects off-chain data and brings it on-chain, which before hasn't really been possible at all. And the idea that it also enables kind of the more complex structures like lending, like tracking the weather forecasts and in general IoT things is kind of the main avenue I see oracles getting their in general oracles are great at. So I see oracles as a comprehensive mechanism that enable basically DeFi as we know it now. That's basically my view of oracles.
Okay. And with your governance tokens, you elect the data providers or like
the governance of HAPI and the oracles are being paid in HAPI tokens, certainly, and the idea of governance is in general to implement new functionality, and also governance. The idea of governance is crucial in the sense that it allows basically anyone with the small negligible amount of tokens to propose a certain address, let's say a malicious address, potentially malicious address to add to the database. That's basically the DAO. And for oracles, we can choose, DAO in general can choose which oracle provider, or will it be our oracle provider, our own oracles, or will it be, let's say, API 3, which is also kind of in our under our purview currently. Yeah, we are looking into API 3 as our oracle provider.
Okay, that's awesome. Do you have an examples how I would integrate your HAPI oracle on Solana for people that are building during the hackathon?
Mm-hmm. So how would you implement it? Since our oracle kind of is not a jack of all trades, it's basically the idea is to get the data from the data provider in the simplest of terms, and it's not really something that is as maybe complex and as versatile as the Chainlink proposes. So I think the oracles of HAPI is mostly proprietary, and they are not the central cog of the machinery in general. But I suppose if anyone wanted to implement HAPI oracles, it wouldn't be much of an issue. I'm not really a tech guy, and I can't go into the details of how it would happen, but I don't think it would be a problem.
Right. Yeah, it would be awesome to have, at least for the people during the hackathon, since this is Solana Ignition specific hackathon, to see like how I could flag specific addresses. Maybe for people that are listening, maybe an idea for one of the project could be take a Serum DEX and integrate HAPI to reject the trades that are coming from suspicious addresses.
Yeah, that's exactly what we are trying to achieve. With DEXs, it's a little bit more complicated, unlike with the centralized exchanges that you don't need really to add any string of codes additionally, but with the decentralized exchanges, there is a need to integrate smart contracts, which is basically the fundamental idea of HAPI is embedding of these smart contracts. So with Uniswap, it would be a little bit harder, since the Ethereum gas fees would basically be a little bit of an issue. But about Solana, I think it's really easy to integrate in Solana blockchain and make it usable. So we are that's why we're building the basis of our protocol on Solana currently. So it will be Solana, first deployed on Solana, then on Ethereum, and then we will basically see.
Nice. And are you using wormhole in any way to move the data between the chains, similar to what Pyth is doing, or not really?
We have built our database initially on the Solana, so we don't really need to move anything. But regarding the transfer of token, we used, unfortunately, we haven't used a wormhole. We used Allbridge for that, because I don't think wormhole was there before. So yeah, we used Allbridge. So that's basically it. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, makes sense. I don't know if there's a question from the audience about price deviations within the oracles. There was like a similar event that happened, I think, this week with Pyth. This or last week? I don't know. I'm losing sense of time. Sorry about that. But basically, they had the event where there was like large confidence interval. For people that don't know how Pyth works, it published right now the spot price that's aggregated across multiple publishers, and it also provides a confidence interval for the price. And during this event, they misreported a price during a single slot that led to liquidations. But the confidence interval was like fairly wide. So since you're building an oracle, I know your oracle is primarily focused on security, but like, what's your take on dealing with like price deviations like that and potentially preventing malicious publishers that could benefit from liquidations? Not that it happened in this case, but
yeah, there is. I think there is a certain trade-off to be made when it comes to basically having oracles that are decentralized and oracles that are more centralized, but have more trust put on them. So as you basically enlarge the amount of validators that have to validate the certain data, you basically have this problem that not all validators are really that, not all validators can be trusted, basically. So there is a trade-off that has to be made, whether you want to go basically the route of decentralization or route of consistent data. So when it comes to the, I think Pyth uses confidence value, yeah? Basically, it aggregates the median kind of value of from all from multiple sources and gets the data point from a data provider. So if you could enlighten me how maybe you know how Pyth exactly works. I'm not really that versed in the Pyth in general, so maybe you can elaborate on that.
Sure. So in general, I think they aggregate data across multiple slots and then see how much it deviated from the previous slot across all the aggregations, and then publish a confidence interval as along the like TWAP and spot price. I can, I guess, for all the people that are on the call, also publish a link to GitHub where Pyth is located. Just give me a second. Just trying to make sure that I have. So the link that I just posted is for the examples from the Pyth repository. I need to find an equivalent between for Switchboard as well. And there is also Pyth client that you can take a look at if someone is interested how they are publishing prices. Let's find a similar one for Switchboard. I want to make sure I kind of covered all the oracles. And also there's like Chainlink coming to Solana as well. I think they're just finishing an OCR implementation for Solana as well. This is an example for Switchboard. So again,
yeah, go on.
Yeah, go ahead.
As far as my knowledge goes, I think Pyth is more on-chain centered than, let's say, Chainlink is. I think they are not on-chain related, but more crypto-related market data than Chainlink, which is basically everything you want. I might be wrong on that.
Yeah, that's correct. Right now, the Pyth is focusing primarily on financial data. So one of the points for people that are listening is you can access any source of financial data like equities, FX, crypto. What else? What else am I missing? And commodities. Yeah. What am I missing? And this is kind of cool because we can start building very interesting products across multiple asset classes, where potentially you could have synthetic products that are allowing you to do like hedging, which is like super interesting. The other thing that I think is unique to Pyth from other oracles like Chainlink and Switchboard, for financial data at least, is they are getting the data primarily from market makers. So that means you will have access to the data during the same block that that the trades is happening versus going through some form of aggregator.
Yeah, so basically
API.
Latency will be lower than usual.
Yeah, if you need that latency. So sometimes latency is good, sometimes it's bad. You know, during the liquidation event where they misreported the price on a single oracle, that's probably bad. Like in this case, you should definitely use like confidence intervals to ensure you have this like additional dimension of information. It would be also potentially cool to use like TWAP to make sure the price didn't deviate as much. I think Compound on Ethereum is doing something like that, where they actually don't liquidate people immediately. I think you have an hour, but I might be mistaken.
Yeah, I see that Pyth in general operates more supplementary to the like other Oracle solutions, or am I wrong with that?
Yeah, no, I think that's a good understanding. If I wanted to have a generic Oracle that's pulling something like you mentioned, API free, or some other data sources, I would probably go with Chainlink or maybe Switchboard, and focus on like getting this like custom data on the blockchain. If I'm looking for financial data, I would probably go with Pyth, just because the quality of the data and like the trusted aspect of the network, I think would be appealing to me, versus like relying on a bunch of aggregators and maybe like exchanges.
Yeah, what struck me unusual kind of aspect of Pyth is that in the current kind of ecosystem of cryptocurrency and infrastructure in general, Pyth doesn't have its token, and I was wondering whether there is basically how do you get revenue from people using your Oracle network if you are not monetizing it? Basically, is it publicly available?
Yeah, I think it's a good question. I don't know if Pyth will have a token or not. I think that would be a question to the team. Same, I don't know if Switchboard will have a token or not. So in that case, I would imagine they are still looking for a specific source of revenue. But another way to look about it, like from Pyth perspective, I think of it more as a collective, where all those independent market makers right now, they need to go to exchanges and pay for the data, especially in like equities world and like commodities world, where if they all agree to publish it for free on the blockchain, then they kind of like escape the prisoner's dilemma where they need to pay to the exchanges for the data that they really produce.
Yeah, because we kind of have the similar problem with HAPI, since the monetization part, despite the fact that we also have our token, the kind of getting the utility case of the token is a contentious point in general in crypto, since let's be honest, most projects get their token out before having any, substantial fundamental technology behind it. So as for us, HAPI, basically we see the main use case of the token as a subscription based. So any entity that are using our protocol basically subscribing to and have to hold HAPI instead of fiat. So that's the idea. I think Pyth kind of might go this route. I have a gut feeling about that.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. Let's see if there's more questions from the audience. But that's interesting. So with HAPI, what's your monetization, I guess, right now? And like, if I'm a centralized data publisher of like cybersecurity information, why would I allow that data to be published on HAPI? So do you pay HAPI token to those publishers, and they have then, I guess, stake in the network, or how does it work?
Yeah, the idea that centralized solutions that trace the network, the blockchain infrastructure, are kind of confined in this off-chain space. So they can't really get into the into the on-chain. Basically, they can get into the on-chain side. So we are kind of the pathway for them to get there. And there is a kind of, I think, mutual benefit in that for both parties, since they also get kind of a cut from the subscription-based model that centralized exchanges will be paying us for using HAPI. So yes, they are getting their cut, and basically I see it as a quid pro quo kind of deal here. So we are helping them to get on the on-chain side, and as time goes on, we are also looking into getting rid of the data provider side in general, since the main idea of data providers in HAPI currently is because we don't have enough data, enough database on the addresses at this time. So that's basically a temporary solution.
Nice. Okay, that's fair enough. What's your view on like the explosion, I guess, of NFTs and how that relates to the oracles? Like, I know the switchboard guys have been working on getting the floor price of NFTs on Solana, but potentially there was like a lot of data related to different NFTs. In the chat, I just posted like an example from Switchboard, how they are tracking a floor price. I think this is probably a Degen Apes, if I read that correctly. So how would you like? What do you think about that? And maybe that's potentially more important for HAPI. Like, how would you track like counterfeit NFTs? Like someone took the picture and then minted it as their own, but it's like wrong NFT.
Yeah, the boom of NFT kind of spurred us to also look in the way of how we can get its under Rhine, and I see that since NFT is basically the identificator of some sorts, it wouldn't be that much of a issue to get HAPI also to work with the not only addresses, wallet addresses, but also kind of NFT stuff in general. So I'm not that familiar with the Oracle and NFT combination, so to speak. So if you could enlighten me in that way.
I don't know. I mean, it feels like it could be a potential useful product where, you know, maybe you track, like, was this image somehow faked? Especially cross-chain. Like, let's say I have an ape from Ethereum, and someone is trying to mint similar one.
Oh, I get it. I get it. Yeah.
And it's like, hey, this is something different. I don't know how this could be solved, but it would be interesting to maybe fight this cross-chain copycats.
So basically preventing forgery in this kind of way.
Yeah.
That's actually quite exciting. But how do you go about it is I suppose under up in the air.
Okay, fair enough. All right, what about the audience? Anyone's having like more questions about oracles that we should cover? Maybe HAPI. Do you have like a demo of the product, like how someone integrated already with HAPI?
Yeah,
that would be cool to see.
We have. I'm not sure whether I can breach NDA right now, but basically we have a couple of centralized exchanges that will use HAPI right after the MVP release, minimum viable product, which is set to happen in the October 18th. Yeah. So it will be, I can't really name the exchange itself, but it will be top 6 exchange. Yeah, I can give a hint, okay. but I can't really name the exchange itself. So apologies for that. We're also actively looking for decentralized exchange that will be using HAPI, and I can say with 90% of certainty that we have found it already, and we are quite happy. Sorry for the pun. We are quite happy with the current advancement in this regard. Decentralized exchange, as I already mentioned, and integrating HAPI and embedding smart contracts in the decentralized exchange are fraught with the kind of issues in and of itself, since you need to pay more gas fees if you are talking about Ethereum, but you can circumvent that if you are using Solana. That's kind of a hint that I can give about decentralized exchange and integration right after the MVP.
So no demo. When should we expect the demo? A month?
Demo, we have already a private demo, but the public one and the essentially a product itself will be available, as you have mentioned on the website. There is a countdown, and that's basically when it will happen. We are currently also working with the near platform, near blockchain. They are also quite interested and excited about HAPI. Yeah, I think the future looks bright for us. Sounds a bit pretentious, but still.
Nice. All right. I don't know. What else do you think we should talk about in terms of oracles?
I wanted to ask about the Pyth kind of decentralized aspect of Pyth, and how does Pyth in general tackles decentralization? As far as I know, when I was reading about Pyth, I haven't really noticed the kind of notes and validation in general about this sort of stuff. Maybe yes. my research was not complete, so I would want.
Good. So the Pyth is you can think of it as a collective of multiple data providers, where I think they vote who next can join the network, and then it's like effectively a private publisher network of prices that you can trust. So it's not like fully decentralized.
Okay. I think the idea of Oracle decentralization is in itself kind of an oxymoron to some extent, since making oracles decentralized is a bit, I think, out of scope currently for tech, blockchain tech overall. Correct me if I'm wrong here.
No, I think it's fair. I mean, especially with prices like financial data, I think it would be harder to be more like if you are able to get all the market makers to subscribe to this network, or like major market makers to subscribe to like Pyth Network, I would call it decentralized.
So would you call a network decentralized if let's say
because they create the prices, right? Like ultimately,
yeah.
Like if you trade for them, right? They create the prices.
Yeah. So the aggregation of price data from multiple sources can be called decentralization or not.
In case of Pyth, I think so. It's better than just like going through some aggregators that get data you don't necessarily know how. Like in this case, it's like directly from the source, from the market makers. And if you have enough of them and they own like, or at least trade enough, big enough portion of the market, then they wouldn't have necessarily incentives to collectively cheat on you.
Mm-hmm.
But then maybe that's weak view on the decentralization.
Yeah, I've seen kind of Chainlink tackling this issue with the reputation system that they have. They have a lot of nodes, and basically how they gauge that this or that node is trustworthy. They have a reputational system for that. Whether Pyth has something alike, or is that not currently in the scope?
Not that I know of, so I don't think so. No, they don't have a reputation system for the publishers.
Mm-hmm.
What else would be interesting that people could build on top of Pyth for the hackathon. I don't know if like anyone like in the audience is actually building something right now on top of Pyth for the current hackathon. But if you are, it would be interesting to hear.
Yeah, I think the idea of future trading and options trading kind of have long been kind of the idea to make it more like a decentralized exchange, but still with the order book model that kind of hard to pull off. And I think that oracles play a great deal in making the experience seamless and smooth, especially on the Solana, on Ethereum options trading platforms and futures is kind of a big no, since gas fees and in general it's kind of not really that usable when it comes to processing many transactions. So I think on Solana it would be great to have something like I think we have psychic options or something like that built on Solana.
There's few
options.
Yeah, there's few options platforms that are building. So Zeta markets are building binary options, Psi options, I think are building American style options. And then also Hero Network is building options and pari-mutuel markets. So for Hero, let me post some other links for Psi options. And they are all fairly interesting in terms of derivatives product, and they approach it differently. So the Psi options, and then there is also Zeta. So for people, I guess, that are watching the chat, I just want to make sure that I'm publishing all the right links and nobody is kind of left out. So those are definitely interesting platforms. I think out of those, Zeta and Hero are using Pyth as far as I know, and not sure about Psi options, what they are using.
Yeah, so I see the idea of derivative platform in general is quite budding currently, and if you are to get a hold of the Solana and get the integrated derivative platform integrated on Solana and get to use and leverage the Solana kind of throughput and the speeds of Solana, I think it can work out quite great in the Solana environment, so to speak. Especially as I mentioned, the kind of hurdles around the making derivative platform in general, especially decentralized one. So I'm excited about these kind of prospects.
Yeah, some of those platforms you can already try. So I think both Zeta markets and Psi options, you can go and try them, and Hero Network is still working on it. It's definitely interesting. Okay, there was this question about like Mango Psi options, potential exploits you can discuss. So like Mango is using like Pyth oracles, as far as I know, for like liquidations. So you know, there's theoretically an attack, right, where all the publishers potentially could collude and publish something to like liquidate specific market. I think that would be the primary exploit that exists right now. But I'm sure like Mango guys are thinking about that. I don't know if like pulling the data from multiple, like if you take a look at the Pyth, I don't know if pulling the data from multiple like oracles, like let's say Chainlink and Switchboard would change that much, since Pyth technically is getting the data from the source.
Actually, I'm quite fond of the approach that AP3 has taken. They instead of getting their marketplace, Oracle marketplace almost, they kind of got straight to the providers of data and cut the intermediary themselves basically, and they have quite a lot of data providers already partnered with quite a lot of data providers. So I think their approach at getting straight to the data provider is quite also interesting to observe. I would like to see something alike on the Solana, and I don't think I'm not sure whether you guys have partnered or are looking to partner with HAPI and their kind of take on the oracles.
Not that I know of right now, but it would be great, I guess. So if anyone from API3, I guess, is listening, it would be cool to work to actually have that on Solana. I think the product is actually covering a very interesting space for the oracles. To think of it as more like bringing the generic data in the form of an API to the blockchain. In terms of the outage that was caused, I think there's a question, I guess, on the chat. I don't know if you're looking at the chat, but the Pyth outage, so that was like misreported price during a single slot caused by, I think, 2 publishers publishing incorrect data, and I think they are looking to improve their like confidence interval aggregation, as far as I know. But like, I would wait for the detailed publish from Pyth itself how they are going to fix it.
Yeah, I think in this aspect, the more kind of median value the more value and data you gather and accrue, the better, since you get the better idea of the average.
During that specific event, for anyone like kind of interested, I think the price was like reported between 5 and 8, if I remember correctly, for Bitcoin, but the confidence interval was like 21. So the confidence interval was like multiple of the price. And I think at that point, you should kind of consider like the confidence interval is so wide that there's definitely something wrong going on, and you shouldn't take necessarily actions that are very adverse. To the, like the confidence interval is there for a reason, and you should definitely use it. It was designed for situations like that.
Yeah, it would be quite interesting to see the full kind of report on that, what happened there.
Right, we have been going almost for an hour. Looks like there's not a lot of questions in the chat, so I guess we are just boring. Or people don't care about oracles that much.
I mean, it's quite understandable why. It's kind of not the topic people looking for, especially in the market where people kind of saturate the market with the token prices speculations more than actual tech. I mean, that's understandable, especially with the value of Bitcoin kind of dropping in the last couple of days. I think people in general not that excited about crypto right now, to be honest.
I'm excited. Anyway, if you have more questions, don't hesitate to go on Twitter and ask. I'm fully active there. I think that HAPI is active too, so you can always.
Yeah, if any questions arise, so no issue. We'll answer any question that you guys supply us with. No problem here.
Thanks for listening. Thanks for coming to Solana Hackathon.
Yeah, thanks for invite. Yeah, thanks to Aleftina for inviting us.
Yeah, it's awesome, and I look forward to like public demo where I can see how it's working, and hopefully someone from the hackathon can integrate as well.
Yeah,
I think it's a great use case, especially for decentralized exchanges on Solana. So thanks a lot.
Thanks a lot.
Thanks everyone.